Facial recognition to be rolled out across UK after human rights challenge fails. Ah, fuck. That sucks. Minister says law-abiding citizens have nothing to fear. It's so cool, man. It's again, it's wonderful how many of the like fundamental arguments for liberalism, just broad liberal, like very basic Enlightenment liberalism, have failed, and now their architects and protectors have turned their backs on the concepts completely. You know? They still say the same stuff. Yeah, it's like they're so evil, man, because if you're even remotely familiar with, it's not even about being a liberal ideologically, it's that the argument of if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. This is one of the most basic boilerplate, like day one lessons you're supposed to learn about liberalism as a concept, which is that like the state needs to prove its intervention. You don't need to prove that its intervention is unnecessary. That's like, it's like very 101. Like a law is not created because you can't create an argument for why the government can't put that law in place. It's the government needs to create an argument for the law. The imposition has to be, it's the burden of proof is on them. This is like, again, so it predates liberalism. It's like Magna Carta shit, you know? It goes back, they had that shit carved out in the Code of Hammurabi or whatever. It goes back so far, but there are still people arguing unironically, law-abiding citizens have nothing to fear. Like, Jesus Christ, man. We are regressing deeply. We are. It's because, and you know, it's because you have to make an active, like, in favor argument for things. And nobody believes in liberalism, right? The liberals certainly don't. Are you against surveillance cameras? I'm against any kind of facial recognition in surveillance cameras. Yeah. And I'm also against surveillance cameras by and large in how they're used in public day to day. Like the UK has a lot of surveillance cameras. Per capita, I think it's the most in the world. They have a lot. Obviously, I'm not really against like there are some basic exceptions you can carve out. Like, oh, here is a license plate reading camera for red light detection. Even then, I think red light cameras, for the most part, cause more problems than they solve. But we'll just say, like, morally, I'm not really opposed to that. But that's not what this is for. This is about registering your face and adding it to a database, and the government having, like, unfettered access to everything about you, so that they can, you know, do this panoptical surveillance state bullshit. Why are you against it? Because I don't like the idea of the government or corporations, or really anyone, I guess, having a massive database of everyone in the country and where they are and what they're doing and what they buy and what they say. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't want the government recording anything, really, just on its own. Not what I say, not where I go, not what I do, not anything. What I buy at the supermarket, internet search history. If they want to get information on a person, they should have to get a warrant signed by a judge. Maybe I apologize. I thought this was like 101 stuff, but like, yeah, no, I think if the government wants to take a deep interest in you or surveil you in some way, a judge needs to sign off on it, and it needs to be part of a like specific, integrated, legally vetted process. What's your response to the low IQ argument? Surveillance isn't bad if you're not a criminal. It's actually so IQ. I think you should just respond with like rock, I guess. You know, the government gets to fondle everyone's balls. You have nothing to fear unless your balls have like a sack of cocaine in them. It's ridiculous. The idea that the fact that people don't understand as a given that we have a right to privacy, to me, is just like a fundamental failure of, and it's because nobody's arguing for it, right? Over here in the United States, Democrats aren't really making day-to-day arguments for liberalism that way, for like privacy. You know what I mean? Nowadays, the politicians, they talk about, sometimes they get like an autistic special interest for like very specific edge case stuff, but by and large, man, privacy is fucking gone. Every corporation is recording you at all times. Your phone is always listening to you. All of your information is being logged all the time to be sold to advertisers. The government has everything. It's all illegal, but nobody cares. Like, it's fucking, it's done. You know, it's dead. It's all dead. So like, no one cares. So a lot of it is just that privacy is a very abstract thing, and a death of privacy is a very difficult to codify externality. It's really, really tough to make a voter like really care. It's kind of like how, you know, the right to vote, like enfranchisement, is really important, and people have fought and died for it. But the average citizen would trade it away for like $2,000 probably. Because, you know, it's valuable in the abstract, in a broader social sense, but interpersonally, like, how much does your specific vote matter to you? Probably not that much, right? You might care more about the 2000. But it's happening everywhere, Masaigu, not just in the UK. It's happening everywhere. Nasty business. God, that's terrifying, man. Live facial recognition. Why at that point, why even tell me? Why even tell? Why even tell? Like, it's not like you can do anything about it. Why even let me know? The policing minister, Sarah Jones, said, "I welcome today's ruling because there can be no true liberty when people live in fear of crime in their communities." It's like it's just V for Vendetta shit, man. It's like, they're so illiberal that they are invoking the arguments that straw men make in liberal arguments for the things that they're arguing against. You know what I mean? Like, this character, Sarah Jones, would be like a stock character that an Enlightenment philosopher would point to and go, now do not listen to this temptress, this devil speaker. You know? This is the kind of shit Ben Franklin would be like, you just have to kill these guys. You know? And like, those who would, you know, trade of their liberty for security deserve neither liberty nor security. Like, it's the founding fathers would be like, we're just gonna put you in a box, basically. Holy fuck! 5 messages in a row where people are adding me. What country should I move to escape this shit? I don't know, nor do I care. That's your business. But legit, do you have a better argument than Rock? I don't think that people who are willing to cede their privacy to the state as a matter of course, who think it's morally good for them to do so, I don't know how susceptible to arguments these people are. I think they might be a little bit, they're too naturally subservient. I think the people of Britain have always been very subservient. They're very deferential to authority. I don't know why. It's just a cultural thing. But, yeah, it's not great.
Good afternoon. This legal judgment is a significant and important victory for public safety. It confirms that the Met is right and acting lawfully to use the best modern technology to reduce crime.
The fundamental problem is people being afraid of crime, even though crime is down. I don't really know what crime is at in London or whatever, in the United Kingdom relative to historical trends, but I'd be willing to bet that it's probably fine. It's probably fine, you know. Society is, by and large, pretty safe compared to, you know, the past.
And keep pace with the evolving threats that we face. Live facial recognition works, and it's one of the biggest breakthroughs for policing. It's actively removing thousands of dangerous and wanted offenders from London streets, including individuals who pose a serious and ongoing threat to our communities.
I'm unfamiliar with any sources to this, by the way. The idea that facial recognition technology, that like an AI database, is that effective in curbing crime. I've not seen any compelling evidence. This technology really isn't that old. It's pretty difficult to get a good longitudinal study going.
Including those wanted for the most serious offences such as rape, domestic violence and child sex offences. Our data shows that the technology is highly accurate and fair, and we've already made more than 2,100 arrests using it. Last year alone, more than 3 million faces walked past the cameras, cool, resulting in only 12 false alerts, none of which led to an arrest. Crucially, every alert is reviewed by trained officers before any action is taken. Today, the court has been clear. Our use of live facial recognition is lawful and supported by our strong safeguards. The judgment confirms that we are deploying the technology responsibly and with care. It shows that fairness, accuracy and accountability were part of our design from the beginning. It also recognises that we have strong oversight and strong safeguards in place. These include checks to ensure it's proportionate and that people's rights, such as the rights to privacy and freedom of expression, are protected in a way that does not breach the Human Rights Act. I would also add...
Did the population vote for this? No, of course not.
The public are firmly on our side. Around 80% of Londoners support the use of live facial recognition to keep them safe. Yet a small number of...
I would like to see how they cook the numbers on that. 80% seems extremely high. Then again, that is a very subservient population.
Campaign groups continue to argue that the police should be prevented from using such proven tools that help us catch paedophiles, rapists, violent criminals, and those wanted by the...
It's the exact same tactics that Republicans use to justify ICE, by the way. Like, every lover of tyranny does this, where they say, well, you know, ignore the fact that it seems weird that ICE can just stop vehicles with no prior cause and arrest people willy-nilly and disappear them and send them to different countries. You know, this is unlocking a tool the government can use to go after the pedophiles or whatever else they're so concerned with. But it's always an overreach. It never actually does what it's supposed to do. It's always an overreach. Even if it did what it was supposed to do, I would not support it, because like the whole point of this technology is not to just be 1% better at enforcing laws that already exist. The purposes of this technology is to open up entirely new pathways of human oppression. Like, here's a very obvious one, right? Live facial recognition scanning faces at a protest, compiling that information into a database, and then, oh wow, you can't get a job now because you are blacklisted. You attended a labor protest, not labor the party, labor like the action. You can't get a job now. You're on like a trouble list, essentially. AI is also very famously racially biased. It's true, but it's not my primary concern because these are flaws in the technology. Like, at the end of the day, Palantir or the UK government or whatever, they aren't selling it based on its technical inaccuracies. They're selling it based on its potential for future suppression, which is what we really need to be concerned about. In the United Kingdom, they're already arresting peaceful protesters for supporting, pro-Palestinian organizations, anti-Israel. We know why this technology is being rolled out. It's not to do a better job of enforcing existing laws. It's to open up new tools for enforcement, future laws, future concerns. I know, Masaiku, you already said that.
Courts. Their position is increasingly out of step with both public opinion.
Are Americans different? I feel like they would go for this. It's already happening in America.
And the realities of modern communities and modern policing. This isn't secret surveillance. Deployments are clearly signposted, highly visible, and the technology never replaces professional judgment. Trained officers assess alerts on the ground, and they make the decisions what action is necessary.
Every developed country is going to do this. It's really just a matter of time. They're all going to go down this path. They're all aware of the fact that people are losing their interest in and faith in liberal democracy. This is the long-term plan. If people can't be quelled by the pantomime or the theater of democratic participation, then you better find another way of keeping them in their place.
Live facial recognition technology is a key part of our determination to accelerate the use of smart policing tools to better protect London's communities, and also to help us make the best use of our limited resources. It helps us catch more criminals more quickly, more precisely, and it saves officers time and ultimately protects Londoners. The courts have today confirmed our approach is lawful. And as I say, the public support its use. It works, it helps keep Londoners safe. The question is no longer whether we should use live facial recognition, it's why we would choose not to.
Exactly. See, the shifting of the burden of proof, right? The government doesn't need to make an argument for why they need to interfere with your life and invade your privacy. Now you have to make the argument for why they shouldn't. It's highly illiberal. Highly illiberal. It's the whole point of the damn Enlightenment, man, was to shift this discussion. Liberal, like, it's crazy because, like, I feel like this era of neoliberalism is going to be brought to heel. Marx would have said this: internal contradictions, not external ones. Fascists are not going to defeat neoliberalism. They never could, because the neoliberals are much better at achieving the exact same goal, which is total state power. Neoliberalism, if it does collapse, will collapse under its own weight, because it has completely abandoned the principles that it is supposed to stand for.
Technology is advancing at record speed, and policing cannot afford to stand still. After all, criminals won't. Facial recognition is just one part of how we transform policing. Government and Parliament will want to carefully consider how they continue to enable and support our use of such technologies, rather than risk over-regulation. These technologies are critical.
Yeah. Read from the prompt. Yeah. Probably straight from the damn corporation you're pairing with. Stuff like this has been happening for a while. This Intercept article is just from 2 days ago. LAPD deployed drones to spy on No Kings protest. 32 times it flew over. Last year, the LAPD launched its Drone as First Responder program with a clearly articulated goal to protect and even save lives. Oh, wow, so noble. The pilot program authorized the rapid development of drones at the scenes of certain emergency calls before human officers even arrive, and apparently at peaceful protests. After receiving a 911 call, authorities can dispatch a drone to get a better picture of what's happening from the sky, potentially reducing the number of officers dispatched. The LAPD turned to Skydio, a California-based drone startup that previously marketed its aircraft to consumers, but has pivoted to supplying militarized weapons-compatible hardware for the U.S. Army, the IDF, and other governments. Calling it the least surprising. Oh man, a Silicon Valley tech startup that supplies the IDF? Wow, how novel. Classic. Feeling brave today, sir? According to flight data shared publicly by the LAPD and Skydio, the city has used DFR not only to respond to emergencies, but also to monitor multiple protests across Los Angeles. LAPD drone flights downtown LA. Look at all those. From the LAPD HQ down to the location of the protests. The police department did not answer a detailed list of follow-up questions, including how much protest-related data it had captured via drone surveillance to date, or who monitors drone feed over protests. The LAPD's fleet of Skydio X-10 drones monitor the ground with a sophisticated suite of sensors the company says are capable of detecting the presence of a person from a distance of more than 8,000 feet and identifying an individual more than 2,500 feet away. The company also touts the drone's ability to read license plates from a distance of 800 feet. So, yeah, you know. Anyway, it's not just the UK, it's happening everywhere. They do not believe in liberalism anymore. They have given up on it. They are looking for alternatives. The most liberal people in the United States are the Democratic Socialists because they're the only ones who are even pretending to care about the process of meeting the needs of the voter. If you are to the right of like Abdul al-Sayed, you've basically given up on the idea that democracy exists to facilitate the interests of the voting public. And of course, if you're, further right, you get the more anti-democratic you get in a lot of cases, but